Greetings and salutations. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to this edition of the Women of BSV. Myself, Casey and Ruth, and we are joined today by Stephanie Tower, who is the producer and anchor for the Coingeek Pulse. So Stephanie covers leading conferences and events in Asia. She interviews C-level executives, thought leaders, and serial entrepreneurs within the gambling space and crypto and tech industries. She is driven by managing multiple projects, developing creative content and strategy, creating fancy templates, and working in a professional yet cozy for culture. So she's worked in PR, events, and customer service. And if you watch her on the Coingeek Pulse, she's always so beautifully presented and so spot on with her delivery. And I think you're amazing and wonderful. So welcome to the Women of BSV, Stephanie. Really honoured to meet you.
Oh, thank you so much, ladies. Diddy, for your kind words. It's an honor to be here. I love being among the ladies in this space. As we all know, there's not much ladies, even in the gaming industry, which I actually used to cover before very extensively. So I'm so glad that you guys put up this Women of BSV, and I'm here with you tonight. Well, tonight here in Manila.
Thank you very much.
All different times of day. Casey, I think, is 8 in the morning. Like midday. Yeah, that's the world we're in at the minute, isn't it? So thanks for joining, Stephanie. It was lovely to meet you. We've been wanting to have you on for ages, actually. The question we often ask people, just to establish a little bit about people's background, is just, how did you find your way to crypto?
Well, I was covering the gaming space under calvinair.com. So I've been working with Calvin and his organization for about 10 years now, and it started with the gaming industry. And
did you always want to be a news anchor? Is it something that you trained to do?
When I started working for Calvin organization for his media arm, I didn't have any anchor experience. I was always behind the scenes, and my background was into publishing. So I was an editor for a magazine. I would produce shoots, pictorials.
I saw that on your LinkedIn. That fabulous looking fashion magazine.
Yeah, so I was an editor for a magazine, and I worked for events, customer service. There was never a time that I actually was in front of any, camera. I always enjoyed being behind the scenes. So I think I remember when I had an interview with Calvin, when I think he mentioned why, because he asked me, why did you take that, course back in the university? And I enjoy watching these people traveling and reporting or eating really the yummiest food. And I asked my mom, what should I take to get those jobs? And she was like, oh, take this communications thing. So that's what I did. And that was the reason why I took that. But because I learned so much from that, program, from that bachelor's degree, I realized that I could do so much more. And I never found myself being in front of the camera until I was given the opportunity to do it for calvinair.com. So that was when I started doing interviews. And it was so funny because it was so funny. It's so embarrassing the first time I was doing it. There's just so much things that you have to think of when you're actually doing that, because unlike when you're just interviewing people just face to face without any camera, you don't actually realize that you're doing this. And I'm very animated when I talk, as you can see. So, but when you do this, when you talk to especially C-level executives, you have to present yourself in a very appropriate and professional manner. So I didn't realize.
I was going to say, it also makes it hard for the people who are editing the video if you're really animated as well.
But I'm very thankful because I was working with really solid team who have, that experience and led me to becoming the version of I am today. Of course, there's always, room for growth. But those people really helped me a lot. And there's just so much self-awareness that took place over the years in terms of doing this job and being in front of the camera and, doing interviews with really amazing people, which I'm very fortunate to have experienced.
Can you remember who your first interview was with?
Yes, I remember. One of actually also empowered women in the gaming industry. She's Ross Wade. She does all of these events as well. She organizes. She has this vast network, and she's very well versed in the gaming industry. And I remember when I interviewed her, I was interviewing her about the event in Macau, and she was very accommodating and very, nurturing in a way. Like she knows, and she knew that it was my first time, but I think it did go well. So it gave me that courage because it's my first time. But the funny thing is, when I did the second interview, that was really funny because I was practicing in my head, like how I'm gonna start the interview, like how I'm gonna introduce him. So I was so confident. I was starting the introduction, like this is happening, it's rolling. And then all of a sudden, when I turned to him, so I was like, oh, this is StephanieCalendar.com, and I'm here with blah, 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 blah. He is a blah, blah, blah. And then when I turned to him, I totally said a completely wrong name. So I did. It totally crushed me, and we tape as it if it's live. So I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna. I was like, oh my god, and totally changed my 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 I don't know my.
Start to sweat, probably. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
And the good thing, I mean, it was so nice because he knew that it was our first time, like really doing it. So it's just really a fun experience to look back to. But
Do you do things? Is it first take now then? Like, is it always first take? Because I mean, always first. Now that is a phenomenal skill, seriously. Because as an actress, as an actress, I was going to say I completely get, because you're reading from a script and you have to memorize the script. Yeah, so when you're nervous and you're put on the spot and you're in front of a camera and there's people around you and you feel really pressured, So I completely get it. I really do. I think that's amazing.
So much pressure. Totally. So much pressure. So much because you have to actively listen. You also have to understand the conversation and ask what's next, because in your head you have all of these questions, because we never use, if you see Becky or anyone from the Coingeek team, we never hold anything. So everything is in our head. So doing it for the first time is so much pressure, and I didn't even realize that my face was so serious sometimes. Like sometimes I'm being called, you look like a bitch. Like I'm so mad sometimes. Like I didn't even know, because I was just like really thinking.
Concentration.
Is he answering my next question? Do I have to skip to the third, fourth question? I don't know. So it's just so much things going on in your head. And super. But with Coingeek Pulse, it's totally different, because it's a totally different concept. You're looking at the camera, you're facing it, and I have a script ready. So I memorized the lines that I'm on camera, and the rest I would do.
And presumably you can do a couple of takes if you need. Yeah.
Ask if you had like a teleprompter software or something to keep you.
No. For Coingeek Pulse, that I would rather memorize my lines when I do it. But some of us actually use teleprompter, which I should do, so I don't have to like really pressure myself memorizing things. But eventually, that's something that I actually plan to do in the next episodes. I really want to get used to really reading from the teleprompter. I think because we did it, Coingeek Pulse started during the pandemic, so I have very limited, resources. I was just taping it for 2 years at home. So
seems so natural. I mean, it's working for you. Whatever you're doing, I would just keep.
Thank you.
I mean, I must admit, it's like one of the few news programs I watch. So I am actually relying on you a little bit for a good portion of my news.
Oh, thank you.
No, for real. Because I find it interesting, and it's nice and bite-sized. It's not too.
And I learned a lot as well. And I hope you guys learned a lot from it, because before we come up with, the stories that we present every week, we would really research what's going on around the world. And we would
narrow it down. And I think that's really a big deal, because you're covering the whole industry, and that's what I really appreciate about it, because I am very much in this kind of BSV bubble. I don't look outside of it too much. I don't know. I've just got more narrowed down the longer I've been into crypto.
True.
I shouldn't even use the word crypto, but you know what I mean, into this. So I really do appreciate you sort of broadening my view out a bit again, especially when you've been covering all this DeFi stuff recently. I mean, what do you make of all of that? Because I mean, it all seems to be gathering pace like an oncoming storm to me. It's more and more of it every week, to cover.
It's true. And it's scary in a way, like learning about what's going on in that space in particular and how many people have been affected by it. So I think our role to communicate all of this information to not just our audience, but to wider general public. I think it's very crucial because not a lot of media talk about these things.
No.
Even mainstream media, they seldom talk about this space in a way that would really give so much insightful information. They would always talk about the prices. If it, and it's, in CoinGeek, we've never really focused. We have never really focused on that. We always focus about the technical capability of Bitcoin blockchain itself, Bitcoin as we blockchain. So important for us to also talk about why is this happening to these, certain ecosystems and who is being affected here. So so it's crazy that it's happening, a bit scary as well. But it's also a good thing in a way because people are starting to realize, not just media, also those government and decision makers in the governments and financial institutions, that not all of these are legit.
Yeah.
So getting back to what Ruth had asked you, is Calvin how you found your way into the blockchain space and crypto, as a whole, and then into, obviously he brought you into the BSV as the chains evolved.
So I was writing for CalvinAir.com. So CalvinAir.com was the online, it was the leading online news site covering the iGaming space. And one of the challenges in that space is the payment system, because there are certain jurisdictions that do not allow online gaming. So of course, when you deal with financial institutions, they would always refer to laws and stuff, So payments have always been a challenge in this industry. So as we know Bitcoin as an electronic cash, peer-to-peer electronic cash, it was raised to us as an alternative option for payments. So that was how I got introduced to it. In the beginning, I was not even paying attention. I just remember one time that CalvinAir.com was giving like $50 worth of Bitcoin at that time. Yeah. If you follow this, if you subscribe to this newsletter. And I was like, I asked my colleagues, like, how, because I was in Manila. I've always been based here. I was like, how do we actually get that? Because you've been hearing about, and at that time, I think the worth of Bitcoin was only at 200 at that time. So how do we actually buy it? How do we get it? And we were like, we don't know. We just like, somebody processes it for us. Like, honestly, we don't know, because we're all based in the Philippines, in Manila. And so anyway, so that was how I got introduced to it. I've always been curious, but at the same time, didn't pay much attention that much until I learned so much, until CoinGeek happened. And I was just to cover all of these events in Asia, in Japan, in Korea, and Bali, and it was like, oh, okay, so there's more than
this is a big deal, apparently. Yeah.
It's not just it. There's blockchain and the data management system, like how it can power everything else in the world, So, and that is something that I've never known in my life. And for a non-technical person, it was so difficult in the beginning because, right now when you go to Twitter, you would learn from almost everyone. There's Women of BSV. When you ask one of you, anyone would ask you, you guys would freely share information. And at that time, there's not like there's no community like as it is right now, like as we have right now. People are like just enthusiasts. But so it was difficult for me. I didn't know who to really ask in I wouldn't be embarrassed, or I wouldn't feel like, oh, I'm so stupid to ask.
No, there's no course you can take or anything, or at least there wasn't. Yeah, there might be now, but yeah. So you winging it basically. Yeah.
I was like, because I remember going to this very technical event in Japan. Everyone was just talking about technical stuff, and I'm not a technical person. If you ask me right now, do I care who invented the internet? I actually forgot the name of the person who invented this, but I'm using it. So I'm always about like how it can contribute in my life. And I think most people are into that as well. So I never paid attention to the very technical aspects of everything. I don't care how my TV works, as long as I could use it. So I'm like also a creative person. So I don't care what plumbing system you put in my house or electrical system, as long as I could decorate my home and feel cozy in it.
That's not a bad thing, though, is it? If you think about it, because you're trying to be the bridge between Joe Public, who doesn't know very much, and the people who do know a lot. So, it's no bad thing that you don't know the whole shebang, because you're asking the right questions, therefore, aren't you?
It was difficult in the beginning, because for me to be able to have a conversation, I need to at least understand.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it was so hard to understand. I remember like sitting, before I go to a conference, I would always read about these topics that they would, present. I remember just going there. I would always review like the night before as well. Like I'm a student before I go wake up in the morning and like go to the, go to the battle. I just remember like sitting down in the Tokyo conference. I was like Googling all the terms that they were talking about, because it's the first time I'm hearing all of these things. And it's like that. Like, what is, I just couldn't absorb it. And it's like,
information
I was fit for this job. That was the time that I felt like, I don't think I could do this. But then when I met Jimmy, Jimmy was so good, simplifying things.
Yeah.
He would write, I remember him writing the easiest explanation of what blockchain is. And that was when I totally get it. And okay. So I was like overthinking many things.
I know, thank God for Jimmy. Really. Yes. Yeah.
And he's very pivotal. His role is very pivotal in, educating many people, including me. And my role as well in this, in what I do for Coingeek is also trying to give information and hopefully educate people with what we have found, what we have learned, and share it with everyone else. So when I met him and when he did all of these things for, BSV ecosystem, that was, I think it became easier for me. And I'm still learning. There's just so much to learn. But right now that we're all talking about utilities, it gets more exciting because I can now relate to it more. Like talking about stuff. Yeah.
I was going to ask, like, as a woman, now that you understand it, what is the part that speaks to you the most about BSV? And what it changed the world from a female perspective for you personally?
That's a very good question. I think I was asked the same thing before. And I always believe that women we move things, even from an economical perspective, like our country's economy. Who makes a decision when it comes to households? It's usually women. And people don't realize that those little decisions that we make at home actually,
they create the economy.
Actually affects the entire economy, our buying power, like those things. And right now, having learned many things in this, for me, in like infancy stage of the BSV blockchain, not just BSV blockchain, but the entire space. I think it's important to have women to make decisions as early as this stage, because you'll never know where it's going to propel the industry if we only put women as decision makers. Because as you can see, there's just so much men. I'm not being a feminist here or something. It's just
I agree. Yeah.
Stats speak for themselves.
In many industries, like when you talk about tech, there's just more men in this space, and they would always be the one to make decisions, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Everyone can do that, but I feel like it's time for women to step up, have that courage to be part of, that core group who would develop things, who would was not afraid to challenge men when it comes to.
I totally agree, and that was one of the reasons why I found my way from BTC to BSV, because BTC seems to be quite happy to stop at the concept of digital gold, and the rich people carry on being rich, and it's not for poor people and all that bullshit. And in BSV, Craig Wright was very, very forthright from day one that it's meant to be used by the poorest people on the planet. And if you're not doing that, or you're not using Bitcoin as it's intended to be, so and I really think that appeals to women a lot. The idea that we can actually make a difference.
That's correct. And going back to the decisions that we make in our households, that's connected to what Craig said. Like, this is not an exclusive club. Everyone can take part in it. And I think knowing that there is such a thing as BSV that does not discriminate or eliminate, like isolate other people or whoever you are from whatever class or whatever country you are from. I think it's just amplifies the very fact that technology can change lives for the better. So I think it's a great thing that we realize it now, like us women, that are also our role, like how our little decision can actually create a bigger impact. But I know it's just an infancy stage, and there's so much more that we can do to further promote it and further like have the conversation and and help in the decision making process to improve not just this industry, but hopefully the entire world.
And spread the word, I think, as well. I mean, that's what we're all doing here, isn't it? Is trying to spread the word to a much bigger, wider, number of people. And I think doing it in our slightly different way is helpful to bring it to the attention of women, hopefully. Though I think Diddy said the other day, most of our audience is still men, right?
Yeah. About 90% of our stats are actually male, which is great. It's good. We are the Women of BSV. We are delivering BSV content. So, they are actually interested in the content that we're delivering. So for that, I'm very grateful that we have.
No, definitely. But I just hope that it also the way we do things.
Peeling an onion, isn't it? You've got to take off the layers of layers, and some of those layers are quite complicated, and some of them aren't. So. How do you cope with the heat, Stephanie? I mean, you've got moisture, haven't you? You're tropical, so it's like tropical heat, is it?
It's right now. Right now is I turn the AC. So, but if I turn off, you would see me sweating. I sweat a lot. But you would see me sweating.
It's very unusual in the UK. It's very unusual in the UK to be about 104 degrees. So.
Yeah, so nobody owns any aircon. Well, a few people do, but I don't.
But 40 is still a lot, even for me. I mean, it's still so much. Totally understand you guys, for sure.
Well, the thing I really caught on with Bitcoin, there were several reasons, because I understood the accounting side of it, because I've been a finance manager. So as soon as I saw it, it's like a triple ledger accounting system and a database. But it's also so much more than that. But one of the main things is because when I did work on the ship, there's a lot of Filipinos that do actually work on ship. This is just a fact. There's a lot of Filipinos, and you're always sending money home. And it cost, I remember it cost me a fortune sending money home. But it really did.
Oh, I think that's Diddy's internet overheating again. I don't know whether it's an internet or a PC. But go and reply to that, Stephanie, because you got the gist of what she was saying.
Yeah, I got it. I can answer it.
Mm.
I can actually say, definitely one of the. I think when it comes to this technology and Bitcoin as your blockchain, like the possibilities that can happen, the technical capabilities of this technology would actually benefit countries like the Philippines. Because there's just, like what Diddy said, there's just so many overseas Filipino workers, as we call it. So these are like the expats working abroad. And one of the driving forces of our economy, probably the biggest, is the money they send to the Philippines, so the remittance. So if there is one country that would really benefit from the technology, definitely that one of them, the Philippines, right now to benefit from it.
Yeah.
It's just that at this point, our Bangko Central, it's our central bank of the Philippines, it's still, studying the space, the technology itself. Lately, they launched this study seeking, like for CBDC though, like how it can be used from a wholesale perspective, not retail perspective, because the current charter does not allow it to happen. So they are studying. I think they're cognizant in a way when it comes to technologies and how it can innovate and how it can help the general public, especially knowing that remittance is such a big deal such a big factor in our economy. So there is movement, but I honestly, in my point of view, is kind of slow because there's just so much that we can earn or we can take advantage from this technology if we just, move a little bit.
Yeah, definitely jump on board with it a bit more.
Like Dizzy said, it costs so much to send money abroad from other countries to the Philippines, and
that solved immediately with BSV. Yeah,
exactly, with the minimum, minimum fee.
No middleman, basically. And that's the whole peer-to-peer aspects, and is that middle tier that slows it down and takes its cut sort of removed, really.
I think the also is it's a lot cheaper than any of the other apps, because I know there are like cash apps and stuff, and there's PayPal and stuff as well. But actually, when you even look at those, they're like 2-3% fees or whatever. So again, BSV just shoots that out of the water. It's quick.
You know that 2 to 3% is such a big deal, especially for families in the lower classes. You know, that's like their entire meal for the day.
Yeah, I mean, I worked in well. Oh, sorry. Go on, Kate.
Okay. I was just saying, I was thinking it'd be a really good idea to take BSV to the Fair Trade Network. I'm sure there's a lot of creators and people there in the Philippines that have products in that fair trade network that are getting them here in these stores and all that stuff. That network would be such a cool place to integrate BSV into, because it's all the individual people in small towns like yours and whatnot that have really beautiful handbags or baskets or things that they make that they could sell with BSV.
So true.
Tonic Pow or something, like just put an ad up for your stuff right there, and then everyone can promote for you. And I don't know, I just that just came to me.
No, but even Pew Pew makes a difference. We send out Pew Pews every week when we advertise a video, and we're only sending people a couple of cents each, and maybe 2 or 3 times over. But people, I think that makes a difference depending on what country you're in. But if you're in Thailand or Philippines or somewhere where the wages are low, even those small amounts of money can make a difference. Am I right, Stephanie?
Yes, definitely. Those small amounts, like what I said earlier, that the money, those fees, like $1, which is like already 50 pesos in the Philippines, that's like a meal for like 5 members of the family, of one family. So it's such a big deal. Like cutting off this, like just 2-3% and going to like merchants or like banks is already like a huge blow to their daily lives, like to their survival, some of them. So having BSV with minimal fees, sometimes zero, right? Almost zero. That would be a great help for these families.
I mean, that's it. That when you notice the bank charges, it's literally it's a month's worth of money for some people just for one bank charge. Unbelievable. So do you know, I mean, I don't know if you answered this question because I got chucked off, but I was wondering, do you know, as the Philippine government, are they interested in this kind of technology? Is it something that they're looking at?
We just have a new administration under a new president. So honestly, there's no news or any announcement talking about how they can utilize blockchain technology. And funny enough as well, there's just so much corruption happening in the Philippines as well. It's like a systemic problem for centuries. And there's just so much, we feel like, personally, I think having blockchain would challenge the corrupt system that we currently have.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wonder, those people in the government, especially who have been there, like political dynasties, like families been there for centuries, would they welcome this idea of blockchain, which is immutable, and which is a source of honest truth,
Same problem here, honestly. Yeah,
maybe the good people would see it like a way that would tackle the issue of corruption. But at this point, I personally haven't heard anything. Maybe it's too early because there's just too much focus on more important things like health system. Like we're still dealing with the pandemic, the inflation and stuff, those things. But I'm hoping, to be honest, because I know that there are some senators who are already looking into it. So
yeah, no, that would be a great future as well, because for the people, the government are they're supposed to work for the people, not against the people, and the majority of them seem to be working against the people. So yeah, I do see also, because this is also why I liked it so much, is the transparency, and therefore it does wheedle out corruption. But obviously the most corrupt governments aren't going to want to look at it, because they are the people doing the corruption.
Doing the crime.
But this is such a great thing in being able to give people their power back by actually the government's working properly for the people and not against them and not stealing from them. So, in the long run, hopefully something, the people win out at the end of the day, hopefully.
Can I interject this? It was just a conversation I had with Craig the other day on Slack, and it basically, I was reading an article about CBDCs, and they're conflating a lot of different ideas together, and Craig kind of teased it apart for me a bit, and I thought it was a good way of looking at it. He always has the inside track. He always has the insight, doesn't he? He's always like one or two levels above. And they were talking about the central banks having kind of a current account style, so the central bank would basically have an account-based crypto monitoring system. And as Craig pointed out, that's really not the right way to go, because from the point of view of the economy, because particularly in the UK, we're a really financial-based economy. And if the central bank takes over the functions of tracing the movements of the money, there's a lot less functions for the banks themselves to perform. And of course, the money is created in the banks. So if the central bank takes on those functions, then there won't be any money in the economy. So the economy will shrink overnight. It will be a financial disaster, really. So this idea of central banks implementing a CBDC, but in the form of just a sort of like an account-based wallet that's monitoring transactions and monetary movements, that could really backfire for economies. So it's not just a question of implementing, a cryptocurrency. It's a question of doing it in the right way, that you don't destroy the economy in the process. Because, as we all know, money is debt, and money is only ever created when loans are taken out, more or less. And so you can't take over the functions of the banking sector and expect not to destroy the economy in the process. It was just an interesting conversation. I don't know whether I explained that very well. Did that make sense?
Yeah, it made sense for me. Yeah.
But as usual, Craig's got like next level understanding of the ramifications of everything that's coming. So,
like, I saw the letter that was going around from that had been released from our government, stating that they intentionally set out to destroy the economy. So I suppose the issue is we don't usually expect our governments to intentionally
be playing against us, to
destroy the economy. So that was something that has been floating around for a while. I've got a copy of. I put it on chain as well. So every time I see something that I feel I always go to Arc and use the Arc app and stick it on chain. So I can go back and I've got my little library of news feed, library of information that I feel is quite relevant to how governments have been acting, over the course of the last few years or so.
Say that app again. It's the app, the Arc.
Oh, Arc. So I don't know. Like, I have the mobile app. I've never used the desktop app, and every now and again it's in beta. So every now and again, it kind of starts working. So I just tweet them and they make the app work again. So literally it's just called Arc. It's got this little this triangle here. Yeah. So it's just this triangle. So you open the app and it's just an arc. So I can archive.
Archive, cool.
Literally PDF documents. Supreme Court documents and stuff like that I find interesting, with lots of information in and stuff. So on my ARC, you will find there's loads of things about psychedelic medicine, there's loads of things about neuroscience, there's loads of things about Bitcoin and stuff, and there's loads of things about...
I use it on Twitter myself all the time. ARC to Bitcoin 2, archive the thread of the tweet.
So like I say, I've never actually used the desktop version. I've only ever used the app. So if somebody actually reads one of your articles, you receive some stats for that, as well as a kind of, so
on your art. I've never noticed that.
You pay to upload it to the blockchain. You don't have to. It gives you the option. You can or cannot. If I upload everything, so it's like a couple of sats to upload to the blockchain, and then if somebody else grabs it and reads it, then you are rewarded.
I know, it's been around for a couple of years as well. It's really good, so I use it all the time, every day.
That's awesome. That's a great way to document for legal purposes, like all these things. I saw somebody open a lawsuit
as well. Sorry.
Yeah, no, just the lawsuits are starting, and something like that is a perfect archive to bring into a courtroom if you did have to document stuff in a reliable way that can be presented in court immediately. I mean, the entire intention behind this technology is to have that record ability. So that's really cool. I didn't know you could do that. I'm glad you shared that.
Well, I'm just thinking we could put all her scripts on chronological order on ARC as well, and you can see because I mean, you must have a library of information, seriously, from all of the stuff that you've covered. I mean, you cover things like the blockchain convention in Dubai, crypto scams, the US Treasury digital assets framework, Terraform Labs. I mean, some of this stuff is like really, really fascinating.
There's a lot, definitely.
Does Coingeek give you a script most of the time, and then you can add stuff to it, or are they just kind of saying, we need you to disseminate this information in the script?
No, so what we do, the process is we pitch stories, and then we'll choose the top stories for the week, and then I write the script and I present it.
So it's all you, basically.
Even more impressive.
Writer, producer, journalist, presenter.
Are you a freelance script writer as well? There's in your contract with Kelvin that says you can't help anybody else write scripts.
Oh, I will help.
Writer.
I'm volunteering to help you guys if you need me.
Serious.
We can do the script, I tell you. Yeah,
I'll be okay. Yeah,
so much from the gibberish.
I'm here to help you guys. I love Women of BSV.
Are there any meetups or anything in your local area that happen?
Good question. Well, we are in the process of doing something like that. So hopefully you guys are here. But because of the pandemic, we are very limited to create all of these networking events. But now that they have loosened up a bit, so things will happen soon here in Manila.
Oh, that's exciting! Cool. Yeah. We need to watch the Coingeek Pulse for the grand announcement of when the meetups are happening.
Well, but BSV meetup or any meetup before, that's always a good place to introduce what BSV is, because a lot of people here in the Philippines, there's a lot of crypto users. That's how we call it here, crypto. Yeah. Because again, we are a developing country, so people have this mindset that cryptocurrency or digital currency is their quick reach, gateway. So for us, in our role that we do in this ecosystem, for us it's very crucial to not just talk about that, but also talk about how this technology can power many industries, even how it can be of help to governments and financial institutions, and how it can actually benefit our entire population. So right now there's a lot of crypto networking happening, but it's more of into because we're traders, we want to be rich, very isolating in a way for other people.
Yeah.
Actually do not belong in that certain class of the society.
And it's really backfiring on people right now as well.
Yeah. But so I'm looking forward, honestly, my point of view, like to just have this different kind of networking where we could actually talk about the technology and how it could power the Philippines, the world. So
and level the playing field. I think that's the most crucial thing to me, is leveling the playing field, making it so that anyone in any country can trade with the rest of the world easily, almost for free.
Yeah,
that's the thing, I think.
That's right.
Yeah,
there's just so much potential here in the Philippines, definitely. I could talk about Axie Infinity. That's such a big thing here in the Philippines, and that's one of the things that made people more aware of this industry, because a lot of players, 40% of players of Axie Infinity around the world is from the Philippines. And imagine that's 40%.
Big portion, yes.
And the reason why they get attracted to this is because they get to play and they get to earn, right?
Yeah.
But because of the volatility of Ethereum price, a lot of these players realize that it's not worth spending so much time, like hours, playing the game and not earning much. But then again, there is always an economical perspective why people do this in the Philippines.
Yes.
Because whatever it is that they learn, like $2 is like enough to buy rice for their family for a day.
Yeah.
So because
Arcade could turn that on its head, right?
So because of the volatility of the Ethereum, the price of Ethereum, it affected their source of livelihood, because it went big during the pandemic, because a lot of people lost their jobs, their source of livelihood. So people, for some reason, they gravitated to Axie Infinity. Because the difference with Axie Infinity and CryptoFights, if you want to play with Axie Infinity, you have to buy first. So there's this culture of managers and scholars. So if I'm a manager, I can fund you. I'll buy these NFTs for you so you can play the Axies. I'll get scholars. So these scholars, they don't have the ability to buy because they don't have money. So I'll fund you. But whatever it is that you earn, we will share together. So I will require you to play this number of hours in a day so we can hit this target. In the beginning, it was working well because the price of Ethereum was right there.
Yeah.
Until it, So a lot of players stop playing because they don't see the worth of it, of spending this much in a day than actually getting a job.
The benefit is skewed.
You don't want the pressure of working with their managers and getting these demands, like you have to do this and that, and not earning much. So that's why I think there is a big chance for CryptoFights, a game like CryptoFights, to come plays Axie Infinity's role in this space, in this market. Because again, there was also this time where the Ronin network, which was powering Axie Infinity, got hacked, and 600 million lost there during that time. Banco Central, our central bank, they released this warning about NFT games, like play to earn games. And it's big in the Philippines. And that hack happened. A lot of people lost their money. And with the price of Ethereum, Axie Infinity's popularity is not as same as before. So in order for games like CryptoFights, to leverage that unfortunate events happening for these people playing that, I mean, they could just and that's why when you attend these conferences, like they would always say like how gaming could onboard, how it could be like the gateway to onboard people to the space, and in a fun way as well, right? It's not just like too much pressure. Like you don't have to understand the technology, you just have to play a game, but you don't realize you're actually onboarding people already. You are already being onboarded in this technology, and I think CryptoFights has that role of not just providing entertainment, not just also providing source of income, but at the same time, like, educating people about the technology and what it can do for you and for the economy and industries that could benefit from that. Even right now, we have this virtual currency platforms where you use like a Venmo, and you can, and it's quite a big deal here right now. Like you pay your bills using that. And if people play CryptoFights and they earn these tokens, And they can use, and if these platforms like Gcash and PayMaya, if they can just, they could work together. Imagine if they earn, this Filipinos who play crypto will earn from this game, and it's connected to platforms that they can use to pay bills, to buy groceries. It's such an economically driven initiative that everyone can benefit from. So there's just so much potential happening in the Philippines, not just remittance, even gaming, and how it will really do good things for our economy, for our people.
I'm way more excited to see what the Filipino people do with Lament than I am what they do with crypto fights. I just feel like that is going to produce so many amazing creators that have cool content, and it gives them the same ability to go spend in the real world instantly. There's also that no barrier to entry, so they can start posting content and get on right away. But like those kind of platforms where people can like show who they are and like express themselves in a monetized way to the world, I'm so much more excited to see all these, people
the creativity
getting on that versus playing video games. I know there's benefit to both, and people love different things. I'm not trying to be critical, but just I like Lament is going to be the actual great equalizer until more things evolve, in my opinion, on just really empowering people and letting them shine in who they are to the world.
Because right now TikTok is big here in the Philippines, but it doesn't have that, unlike YouTube, right? Like you earn from the views, right? From your subscribers. Creators on TikTok here in the Philippines, they earn from the sponsorship, brand placements, like product placements, but I don't think they can monetize their actual content.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do people monetize TikTok? I mean, I've seen you can upload, if you're a musician, you can upload your own music, and it's very possible if it gets picked, you might get a couple of cents for.
I don't think you can monetize from your content from the platform itself. They actually get to earn from it is when outside factors, third party sponsors them, with brand sponsors. But as far as I know, they could not monetize their actual from TikTok itself, unlike they do it on YouTube. But the good thing about the rise of TikTok here, creators from different walks of society actually just became like famous because of it. There's because a lot of people are on TikTok, with things like Lemon, platforms like Lemon. They could actually monetize whatever they create on TikTok, and they just put it on Lament and
go on TikTok, and they can't monetize that in any way. Lament going viral like that is going to bring you so much money.
Yes.
Feel overnight financially saved from like poverty forever in one day if you had something good you were putting out there. Like, it's just mind-blowing how transformative this is going to be, and it makes perfect sense why there's so much censorship on this whole ecosystem. It's going to expose everyone's wrongdoing to the world, and it's going to empower so many people to get out of literal slavery. So of course that they don't want that, and this is why I'm like full-time all day cheering on everyone that's trying to share this information, because it's so needed. We've got to change this game.
Oh, indeed, we're gonna change the game. Yeah, I love that. We're gonna change the game. I think
the game. I mean, it's like a rigged game. We can't win. They set up the monopoly board to suck all the money to the bank, and it's like, no, we need to put that back into the properties, into the cities, into the local communities, and build our world, not the world they are forcing us to build. This will allow us to take back all kinds of different things, even in demanding more sustainable practices in all different verticals. I think just documenting how more efficient these things are that they're trying to block, even on things like ARC, are going to be helpful to propelling us out of these traps and things, in my opinion.
I was going to say about gaming as well. I mean, there's not just sort of crypto fights now, because there's Haste Arcade, which is huge, yeah, and there's a lot of there's chess on there as well, isn't there? And I know there's a lot of people over in Asia who are really amazing chess players. 2048 was a brilliant game. But also, you know, Duro dogs. Who doesn't want a little dog that they can take around with them, you know? And then Molly Match as well. So, I mean, that's four big games, I think, that are going to do really well, to be honest.
And peer game.
Oh yeah, peer game. Well, peer is,
I think
so
peer game is more of like casino stuff, online casino.
I was going to say iGaming. Is iGaming
iGaming,
specific
yeah.
just casino, or is it like you know? I mean, you got the 3D virtual horse racing and 3D virtual dog racing. Does that fall under iGaming?
Yeah, it falls there. Like even sports betting falls under the iGaming. So it's
So
like
any sports betting, any sports betting then.
Yeah, it's under online gambling. Yeah, they call it iGaming.
So
But
I love a flutter on horses, mate. So I do like 5p bets. So a 5p bet, you see, as say Ladbrokes or a gaming company, if you've got customers that like to do 5p each way bets, which is the smallest bet they'll allow you. What are the fees? You know, it's mind-boggling to me, the oracles that they use and what kind of fees they're actually having to pay, when I know for a fact you can do a 5p bet, you know, because that's quite small, isn't it? So micropayments and nano payments for that industry are just perfect. So sorry, just wanted to chip that in there. But shares in free racehorses.
But then again, let's remember we should be responsible gamers as well. You know,
this is very true.
Things, you know, like recreation. So yeah, I just want to put.
Well, that's why Lament's so good, because it's the counterpoint, isn't it? So rather than gambling or game playing, you're creating content. So it's going to cater for everyone.
Representing who you are to the world and empowering whatever it is that you're passionate about. But I think we also have to remember that these things, no matter how amazing it looks from our perspective, we should need to get buy-in of many parties. That includes the entire general audience, like governments, like just different, parties, like entities. Because no matter how good a product is, if we do not get the support that it needs from different sides of it all, then what's the point? And I think it's the biggest challenge of the entire ecosystem.
The regulation,
developments, projects happening, but do we have the business acumen to really propel it forward? Because as we can see, there's just so many amazing things, amazing products and services. But until when can they really work on it to reach that level of adoption? And there's just so many things that has to be taken into account. It entails so much in order to do that. So I really hope that those people are working on these developments, like really great products, they get the right people to develop businesses in these markets, because it's not enough that you have a good product. You have to really market it. You have to get the buy-in of people to actually use it, because there's no point of having it if no one's using it.
Right. That's the tricky home to get over. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's just taking the awareness. This is the whole intention of why we started this channel, is to bring awareness and to, just go deep with each one of these developers and show what they're doing and how it works. So yeah, you should totally reach out to Daniel and Morgan at Lament and get the VIP code from them for the Philippines, and at all the events you guys do start a meetup over there, you can help onboard. I mean, it is a huge blessing to know that I have such a cool thing to share with people around the world, just because of how life-changing it could be for them. I feel honored to be able to share, with the world this type of a tool that they can use to completely change their life. So,
and our app that we're working on.
Yes, and Heartmail, that is obviously going to change the game too as it evolves, but it's just the things that are available right now. We are going through times of people literally killing themselves because they're so financially devastated they shut down the world in 14 days. took people's businesses away and everything. So this is like, we need stuff right now. We need to get this awareness to people and this tools to people as soon as possible. So yeah, just happy to hear, you know, the growth and what you guys are doing over there, and definitely get that VIP code for sharing over there, because it helps them get more bonuses and everything. And then that first 5,000 people get the free debit card. So there's just a lot of incentives to be the first on your platform.
Have you experienced this already? Because I know
it's launching very soon. It's like a week or two away. But
in your territory, I was like, is it already happening? And we're like left behind. Okay, good to know that it's about to launch.
No, we just had a chat with them basically, and they explained the whole concept to us. So we were really impressed, weren't we?
It just seems like the perfect thing to take to the more low income, you know, people first, because they've got such cool products. I mean, the handmade crafts and things that come out of areas like that are just gorgeous, and you don't see, you know, craftsmanship like that hardly anywhere anymore. Everything's made so commercially and cheaply and all that stuff. So I just would love to see these people flourish on these platforms before all the other crap shows up. So that's why I'm like, take it to the Fair Trade Network. I think I'm like my wheels are spinning on that one. I had that come up during this conversation. So, but that's the kind of people I really intend on taking this content to, and these interviews and stuff, just getting it to those networks, the leaders of those networks. And I mean, they will eat this stuff up and just be so grateful to take it to their network. So the ball is rolling, man. It's just really, I think, so exciting to be here so early, to be able to watch it all kind of absorb the world. So, well, I'm impressed. I love watching you work out in some of your videos too. It's very inspiring. The fitness that you're doing over there with tennis and all that stuff. I'm like, just watching you live your best life, and it's awesome.
Actually, it's not tennis. It's actually padel. It's a combination of paddle and it's a combination of tennis and squash, which I never played in my life.
Oh, that's like racquetball, really fast.
It's a racket game, yes. But I grew up not playing any sports, so I feel like I only have competitive spirit, so I need to really unleash it. This year, one of my friends put up this paddle club in Manila. It was growing big. I think it's growing big in Europe. I think in Spain. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go there to support you. So when I played the game, I was like, oh my god, this is so much fun. And then I just ended up doing it, and it's so much fun. I really love it. So that's my thing right now. I'm to paddle, and lately it's closed right now because they're renovating it. So I'm like, oh, I pick up a new hobby? I picked up a surf skate. So it's like a skateboard. Yeah, surf skate is like, it mimics the surfing techniques. So whatever it is that you want to actually practice on water, you can practice on land using that surf skate. Cool. It's just literally like, if you've tried surfing, you can do like the curves that you need to. River should be here. Like, she knows how to. Yeah. So you know,
in Brazil, she's doing amazingly. I saw this picture a while back, and there must have been about 40 people on the beach doing yoga with her, and she's got a DJ and a beautiful red sunset over the mountains and the sea. 40 to 50 people all doing yoga on the beach. It looked phenomenal.
It was really over 100 in the video I saw this morning. She had over 100 people show up at this last thing.
She's doing amazingly. So proud of her, man. Seriously.
Only 6 months of building, and she's gotten that much momentum. It's really beautiful. I had to leave Brazil the day before her next sunrise yoga session was, so I didn't get to experience it, and there was no way to change our flight. But yeah, she is in her element, and it's really cool to watch. I'm happy for her that, you know, she found something that's fulfilling her outside of BSV for now. So.
She's so good as a yoga instructor as well. So I have a question for you, Stephanie. Are you going to be in London for the global blockchain convention in May of 2023?
That will be next year, right? So hopefully I'll be there. Because you know what, the good thing about CoinGeek, we have grown so much. I remember it's just me and Becky, covering the entire world. But now we have grown so much. We have so many amazing people working with us, and they're just super smart, like super, oh my god, super amazing, I very inspiring people. So who knows, because right now I'm focused in this region, but hopefully you could get to have a Coingeek Pulse episodes in that event. Who knows, there are many things happening, many things are changing for the better, so we'll find out next year then.
Oh, well, we'd love to meet you in real life, for sure.
It'd be great to see you, Charles, and Becky all in the same place together. It'd be great.
It's fun because Becky and I, because we're like covering different parts of the world, we've always like, oh, when are we gonna like be in one place? It never happened. It only happened like I think once in the beginning of my career here. Yeah, because I have to like shadow, and she's like a mentor to me. So, but it never happened after.
Because to me, you two are together in my head, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Like, please, guys, if you're watching this, please put us together.
Definitely. Yeah. But Becky's London-based, isn't she?
She is London-based.
She'll be there for sure. Yeah.
Hopefully. For sure she'll be there, but hopefully I'll be there too.
Hopefully, yes.
I want to see you guys. I always meet like the men in this space.
Yeah.
They're just mostly men. So now they're just more women. I could not wait to be in the same room as you all. So
that would be fun. It's a shame because we didn't get to Dubai, any of us, did we? But because it's all the traveling and the costs and everything. Yeah. And COVID's made everything so much more complicated as well. So
well, thank you for representing the space and CoinGeek and women so beautifully and elegantly with what you guys are doing. You and Becky both are extremely inspiring. I was really shy to start coming out of my, into the public and talking. So I was really grateful for the Women of BSV channel to come out together. So open invite if you ever have spare time and you want to come join us for an episode or anything.
Yeah,
it'd be really fun to have you hang out. Any of the live streams, whatever. We're going to have eventually some Women of BSV event somewhere, and we're going to make sure everybody gets together, and it's just going to be like a big party, and the men can come if they want, but definitely females.
Let me know.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. So we'll have to all like pick our favorite spot and draw straws to pick where it's going to be in the world or something. But
maybe somewhere tropical.
Hawaii.
But have you got any closing words you'd like to say, Stephanie?
Well, for me, I think let's just keep going. I mean, things will change, and the technology that we all know, at least among all of us, would only change the game. So let's not stop educating more and more people. Like, just have the patience, and at the end of the day, just try to be kind, because this industry is not kind.
No.
Not a lot of people totally, they have this cognitive dissonance, I guess. Like, they don't want to accept things, even if they actually know that it could be the truth or the right way. So despite that, I think we just have to continue going on and continue just staying really fair and kind to people, because after all, everyone will benefit from it.
Exactly.
If only we would just listen and just like let it shine. So it's just at the infancy stage where I'm very fortunate, just like you guys are. Like, we're very fortunate to be seeing all these things happening around us. Imagine what could happen in 10, 20, 30 years when it's full blown. So just keep it going, be kind in the process, and just stay patient until we get all these people buy in.
Wonderful.
That's good advice. Great
advice. Yeah. Thank you, Stephanie. It's been absolutely pleasure talking to you.
So
great to meet you.
Yeah.
Very much so. Thank you for coming. And if you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.